Alright, so I just finished up filling up all these water tanks with a soil so people can plant tomatoes and squash and whatnot in here. And to do that I had to use this Toro Dingo. But the Toro Dingo has to go home right now. It belongs to the rental company and I gotta get back home. In this video I'm gonna show you how to get one of these, right there, into one of these and how to do it safely. First of all, you got to get all the dirt and debris off your trailer. These trailers have pretty slippery insides. Always have the parking brake on your vehicle all the way suppressed. When that 4,000-pound piece of equipment or bigger rolls up into that trailer and stops, it might make the truck lurch back and forth. That puts a lot of strain on your transmission, and believe it or not, they're really susceptible to braking when they're in park. So it's always good to give that a good press. Alright, so what you see me did is I lined it up backwards. Now I find loading things like skid steers or mini skid steers, loading them backwards is the way to go, because all the weight is on the rear end, and it's going to get better traction if more weight is on the ramps than on the ground. If more weight is at the back and it tries to go up a slope hill like that, the machine's going to go whoop and try to tip over on its back rollers. You don't want that. Give yourself plenty of room. You want to line this bad boy up straight in a safe place, not try to monkey with it. Put the operating end all the way on the ground. Flatten it out. It's probably not very obvious, but right here is a slight incline. If you back your trailer up to a slight incline, it makes the ramp angle less severe. Now you could spend some time on your first tie down ratcheting with the binder, but in my experience, what works best is if you just loop the chain over on itself and then either pull forward or back up depending on which side you've chained on your piece of equipment. That'll tighten it up really fast and really secure. After you've put some tension on your front chain, set your parking brake. That's not going anywhere. Now when you throw one of these ratcheting chain binders on here, you're going to want to make sure plenty of that thread is exposed. Chains are just like rope. They stretch when there's force applied to them. So as you tighten that down, the little threads are going to get sucked in, which tightens these chains. And you want to get them just about as tight as you can go without, killing yourself. I like to bring my buddy Dave along because he's a big boy. He can really put some leverage on that. He can get a piece of equipment a lot tighter than I can. So if you're on a job site with a few people, call over the biggest person to help tighten these things down, because a little force goes a long way. Now I'm going to be clear with you, this is not the strongest way to tie something down. If you really want something to not move when you're driving, you take one chain, two chain, 3 and 4. Make 4 points of contact instead of 2 as we have here. If I did take a really hard turn or something happened, there was a little accident, this whole machine might shift sideways in the trailer with enough sideways force applied. But since I'm only going about 2 miles down the road and the road's pretty straight, I think this is just fine. After all, this is how all the rental companies tie stuff down in the yard, just because it's really fast. And unless you're getting in a real spirited driving situation, you're not going to have any movement. And last but not least, you're going to want to center most of the weight of that piece of equipment over your axles. You want to lean to having more weight on the tongue heavy side, but really These trailer axles are meant to take most of the weight, not the truck, and certainly not the trailer hitch and tongue. This is more important for larger pieces of equipment like excavators and full-size bobcats. But this little dingo, I can afford to put it a little bit more towards the tongue of the trailer just because it's so small. And that makes it ride a little bit better too. I always err to the side of putting things more on the tongue than putting things more over the rear wheels. Just because if you do get into a situation where you have to drive combatively, that trailer can start swinging side to side, fishtailing. I'm gonna leave a link to a really good video on fishtailing